welcome to Scorched Earth and a general reading for the sign of Scorpio, Sun, Moon or Ascendant for the month of September. I hope you are well. I'm using the Wild Unknown Tarot for you today, so let's get straight on and see what's going on with you. Could I have 3 cards, please, for Scorpio? Well, that's the first one. We have the Four of Pentacles. The current energy for Scorpio is the Mother of Pentacles. That's Capricorn energy. And what's coming towards Scorpio, please? Oh, thank you. We have the High Priestess. Interesting. This feels like already I'm getting a I'm getting a sense of kind of like the tides coming in and out, you know, things being released, things being invested, taking you to a place. We have the Three of Wands at the bottom of the deck here. And, you know, that's a card that very much deals with the actions. You know, what are you doing in the day-to-day in your 3D life? What are you doing to take yourself towards your goals? You know, what it is that you want to achieve, whether that is an internal position, which might well be the case here with the High Priestess, or an external one. Let's get some clarifiers and get some meat on these bones, and then we'll see what this is all about. Tell me about the Four of Pentacles, please. Well, that one jumped out. We have the Nine of Wands. The Four of Pentacles. We have the Five of Swords, and we have the Eight of Pentacles. Tell me about this Mother of Pentacles, please. Thank you. We have the Empress, Taurus energy. And we have the Ten of Cups. Glorious. What about this High Priestess, please? We have the Seven of Cups and we have the King of Wands. I like this for you very much, Scorpio. We've got the Temperance card at the bottom of the deck. It's a Sagittarian card, but it's a card that comes up for you quite often, and particularly it's been coming up a lot this year. Because whenever you see the Temperance card, we've got this notion of a kind of alchemical process that one is undergoing, right? The transmutation of pain into something really rather beautiful. And, you know, Scorpios seem to be somewhat of the zodiacal repository for pain, right? You feel it really very deeply indeed. What do we have underneath there? We have the Four of Wands. What I'll say to you, Scorpio, is don't get too comfortable where you are right now. Although I feel it's a more comfortable place than you have been for a very long time, there is more coming. More experiences, more opportunities for growth, more victories, more wins, more of everything, actually. I think at this point, getting too settled where you are would be detrimental to you. Like, remain open about what is possible for you. So we start off with this Four of Pentacles, and this is sometimes called the Miser card, right? And it talks about how we hold on too tightly to things, and usually this is coming from a place of fear, because we feel like if we release this thing, it won't come back to us in any kind of meaningful way. And whilst that interpretation is correct and does apply to you, it's a sideways positioning in this, in so much as it seems very clear to me that you know that there is continued work to do. There are more boundaries that require putting up. There are walls that need pulling down. There are perhaps cognitive biases that need challenging, cognitive loops that we get stuck in, right? Rather than this being a very stagnant energy, it actually feels like exactly what I was just saying there, that sense of openness about the things that are requiring release and the things that are requiring you to kind of commit and invest in them. Because we've got the Eight of Pentacles there, showing that the work is... Not only is the work never done, and you know that, you seem to know that implicitly, but that this is something you feel like you're committed to so fully, in a way that, well, genuinely you've never been quite so committed as you are right now in this point. And almost to the degree that the flaws that come up the triggers that come up, all of these, they feel like they're being really embraced at this time. Because you're treading a spiritual path that requires these external signposts. Internal signposts, actually, I guess. You know, these feelings, whatever it is that comes to the surface, the emotions that come to the surface, you know, where you see that you're thinking about something in the wrong way, or, you know, not quite as logically as you could be doing. It's like you're wearing your emotions easily, Scorpio, and that's kind of profound, actually. There's a lot that's been kind of, you know, character building for you during your life, and there's a lot that's happened, you know, that still runs very, very deeply with you. But this commitment to not only where you are right now, but where you intend to go from here with this is really, really strong. And we see this bleeding into your present energy, because we have the Queen of Pentacles, or the Mother of Pentacles, as it's known here in this deck. I just thought, I'm just expecting a delivery. I'll pause this a second. Yeah, that's okay. I thought they might be sitting at the end of the track being surrounded by dogs and pleading for assistance, but that's not the case. It's okay. Bleeding into your present rather, with this Queen of Pentacles, because she's absolutely about the internal investment right now. If you consider the Queen and the King of Pentacles to be the internal and external expression of a particular energy, as I say, Pentacles in this case, then the Queen of Pentacles is about the importance of nurturing yourself. And there's such a feeling of peace and contentment here. Like, you do feel like you're just washing with the wave here. It's just backwards and forwards, and it's so peaceful. You know, we've got the Empress and the Ten of Cups underneath there. And the Empress is Taurian energy, right? It's fixed energy like you, but there's something quite fluid about this card here. It's interesting how much Taurus has been showing up in other people's readings, and quite interesting. And I wonder if it's something to do with the North Node being as it is in Taurus at this point. Like, there's such a push, it seems, across the signs to really lean into the North Node energy, right? Almost like there's a possibility of not just expanding, but like progressing down a path at a speed that is somehow increased, or even just more significant at this point than any other. And I would thoroughly agree with the world needing to sort of take that upon themselves at the moment. But it's here with the Ten of Cups. It's a card that speaks about collective harmony and collective well-being, emotional well-being. There's almost like a leadership role here. Well, I don't mean that you're sort of taking charge and bossing everyone around, and far from it. There's far too much of a calm and peaceful energy here about you. But there's something of a natural leader that is emerging within you, Scorpio. I'm looking specifically at this waterfall here. Now, water always finds its own level. And you seem to have found your level with the water, with the emotion. Oh, shit. I've never noticed that it's running through this card. Literally have never noticed that it's running through the Ten of Cups either. What the fuck? So much so that they look like they could be connected. It's just one big stream that runs from one card into another. There's a warmth here in you, Scorpio, but it's kind of like it's a detached compassion. I've been saying that phrase a lot. Compassionate detachment, rather, that way round. It's like, yeah, everybody's got their shit, and I've got their shit, but I'm in charge of my shit, and Everybody else's shit isn't really my concern, you know? I'll pull another card for that one. I feel like there's something else here. And when I say a natural leader, I mean there's a leading by example aspect. I don't think you're necessarily going out of your way to lead people or boss them around or anything like that. We've got the Four of Wands and we've got the Seven of Swords here. Now, the Seven of Swords can sometimes be a tricky energy because it does speak of deception often, but it can also talk about taking a risk. I think it's quite difficult to impute the intent in this card when you're just looking at a snapshot here, but it is preceded by the Four of Wands, the creation of a new foundation. It is the home card, it's the family card, it's the celebration card. I feel that there's much more of you that is looking towards what is positive and what can grow, you know, rather than focusing on the deep and the dark and the, you know, the isolation, which might well have been your experience up until this point. And that is what other people can see. It seems like you're having a really profound effect on your environment. We've got the World card with a card that was underneath it, the Ten of Swords. There's a lot of things that have ended for you, Scorpio. Things that you thought you would carry around for a very long time. There's the Strength card at the bottom of the deck. You know, you have healed, you have grown. This for me very much is a card of personal development, but it does also talk about courage, and you have demonstrated an exemplary level of courage with how you have leaned into what is uncomfortable for you. A huge part of that has been nurturing yourself, right? Scorpios are often associated, rightly or wrongly, with being very guarded, you know, having a strong sense of self-preservation, to the exclusion of the possibility of connection and the things that we know really enrich and bring value to our lives. But that feels like it's falling away. It's like you've really come to know yourself. And in coming to know yourself, you found a level of peace with what has, you know, tortured you. I was going to say tortured. It's everything from, you know, troubled you to tortured you, and everything in between, I think. Because we've got this elevation here. In the World card, it's very clearly depicted. Someone rising out of the darkness and into the light. The fascinating thing with you, Scorpio, is that you haven't, you know, it's not a one-time deal. It's not a one-time process. And, you know, that would absolutely be in alignment with the Plutonian nature of your sign, you know. But as things are coming to an end, the thread that is carrying you through, the stream, if you will, that is running between the two cards, is this commitment to investment. And I'm really proud of that in you, Scorpio. Really proud of that. Even the line between the dark and the light there seems to be reminiscent of a stream that's kind of running through it. It's taking the important stuff and it's leaving the rest. It's finding you and taking that forwards and leaving everything else behind. You know, I've half a mind that some of you are dealing with past life or generational karma, and you've really made some inroads into that. To the degree that it is now affecting your environment, it's affecting the people around you, and there's certainly the energies around you. So then we come to what's going on with you in September, and we have the High Priestess. And interestingly, it's paired up here with the Seven of Cups and the King of Wands. Now, again, I'm not an astrologer. I do say this, I think, at least once a video at this point. I really wish I was. I wish I understood this a little better. I'm wondering if there's something going on with Neptune that affects your sign this month. Because the Seven of Cups is about confusion and illusion, right? We'll just stop there with that key phrase for that. And then we have the High Priestess. And sometimes there is, well, there's something quite enigmatic and mysterious about the High Priestess, except that you are embodying the High Priestess at this point. Ah, I see. There's a rather elevated position here of you. Now I'm looking at it, I can see it. And it's funny how those two cards were just kind of bleeding into each other, and these ones are doing the same here. It looks like the plinth from the King of Wands is the cloud on which all of these cups are sat. And we have someone else who is sitting in the dark, right? A silhouette of someone who is being dazzled by all of these cups. And he's down here and he's looking up at these things and he's like, fuck, which one of these do I choose? And half of the issue is that these cups, ephemeral things such as they are anyway, are sitting on an ephemeral cloud, and they contain things that from his vantage point he cannot see. But you here as the King of Wands, which is Leo energy, have a perfect vantage point to be able to see in all of these cups. And it's funny how the meaning of the High Priestess and then also of the King of Wands and the Seven of Cups together are sort of coming together to mean exactly the same thing separately, and then even more so when they're together, because the High Priestess is the keeper of wisdom, right? She knows all of the things. She literally sits between those liminal spaces of, well, in the liminal space between, you know, the end and the beginning. She is a channel. She's a conduit. The access to you know, all of the universal wisdom and knowledge is right there for her. She's tuned into it. And here, in a more sort of day-to-day practical aspect, we have a King of Wands who is very much in charge of doing. So actually a bit different to the High Priestess like that, but look, he can see into the cups. He seems like he's ready to stand up and point with his wand and go, do you know what, you need that one over there. Now, this suggests guidance, I feel, by you to other people. I wonder if this is one of these sideways ways in which this elevation of you as a leader is sort of coming to pass. Oh, that's Seven of Cups. We've got the Seven of Pentacles and we've got the Seven of Cups here. Now that's 777, which is interesting. Feels very much like it's seeking answers. We've got the Seven of Cups twice and we've got the Seven of Pentacles. The Seven of Pentacles indicating for me a situation which is somehow less than ideal, right? And it's that point where you realise that things are less than ideal and you're like, well, fuck, do I invest more into this or do I pull out what I've invested in it as best I can and go somewhere else, invest in somewhere else? You know, maybe I need to pull up the bush and replant whatever it is that I'm waiting for here. But we've got the Hanged Man at the bottom of the deck, more Pisces energy, just as we have here with the High Priestess. And you know, both of these cards are usually indicative of great passivity, right? That's the most passive card in the tarot, followed by the High Priestess. It's about hanging around, seeing things from a different perspective, right? It seems to me like people are coming to you this month for your wisdom. We've got the Eight of Pentacles at the bottom of the deck, underneath the Hanged Man there. People are coming to you for your alternate perspective. They're coming to you to ask what it is that they should do about something. And this is very interesting because generally speaking, I'm more interested in what's going on with you rather than what's going on with other people. But I wonder if this might be forming some to some degree, some element of a look how far you've come kind of energy. People have always come to you, Scorpio, right? Not least because they know that you can keep a confidence, right? But because there's that innate wisdom. You can see past the bullshit and you can see what is important, right? You can see that within people. You can read dynamics of rooms like no one else. You know, it's a gift that you have there. One that possibly, at times, you might have felt like it would have been nicer if you hadn't had. You could have like blundered around in willful, you know, willful ignorance. Or blissful ignorance, there you go, that's the word that I was looking for. And then you kind of pull yourself to your senses and you go, no, I would hate that. That would literally be the worst thing in the world. So I just have to put up with it. I have to deal with the pain, you know, of being able to see through all of these things. Why is this King of Wands here? Thank you. We've got the Eight of Wands and we've got the World. And the Tower at the bottom of the deck. Now, that's a Scorpio card right there. And to be fair, that is also a Scorpio card in so much as it has all of the fixed signs usually depicted upon it, right? So Leo, Taurus, Aquarius and Scorpio. We've got that Leo card there too. It seems like there's much more activity for you this month, despite the fact that we have these passive cards here flanking this set of cards that I'm looking at. But I feel like the activity is helping other people this month. It is giving them the benefit or even the assistance of your alternate viewpoint, of the way that you see the world that is so palpably different now to how it was. Because it looks like there's a lot of confusion this month in people around you. And a lot of things that are less than ideal. They're not monumentally fucked, but they are certainly less than ideal. I mean, the Tower could be an indication that there's some, you know, momentally fucked energy kind of floating around here at the moment. But we've got the Ace of Swords sitting behind that, right? This is about very clear perspective. It's thinking clearly about the scene, knowing, you know, thinking clearly and knowing what to do about something. I feel like you're going to have a lot of people coming to you this month, and even with this Eight of Wands, right, we've got this backwards and forwards communication about the World card, right, about possibly how it is that people can come to be as you are. How do they bring that to themselves? Now, the interesting thing for me is why that is happening, and we're absolutely going to look at that in the extended. We'll definitely be digging into that in the Vimeo or on Patreon if you're watching there. Something's coming to an end this month, but it feels like it's bigger than just some small 3D situation that involves just you and another person, right? I think to all intents and purposes, this is kind of a month where you don't really do much, except that there's lots going on because people are coming to you for advice and they're saying like, fuck, how do I deal with this thing, right? And you're like, well, where's the difference to a usual month? It feels like it's the scale. The Tower and the World. I mean, there's a way of reading that and saying, you know, it's the Tower happening to the world itself. I would be remiss if I didn't mention it. But there seems like there's a lot of people who are confused. There are a lot of people who don't really know what step to take forwards. And you are sitting here in this almost like oracle type energy, Scorpio. That's how it feels, and the High Priestess is the oracle, you know? You are sitting here in this oracle type energy and you are helping people. Lots of communication, lots of conversations, and some of these may be electronic. They won't necessarily happen in a natural conversation like this. It could be by text, it could be by, you know, a direct message on social media, it could be by email, but it seems like people are reaching out to you specifically for your input on something. This is really interesting, and I'm actually quite looking forward to digging into this in Vimeo. So if you'd like to join me over there, the link is down in the description box. You could, as I mentioned, join my Patreon community if you so wished. That is also The link to that is also down in the description box. But if neither of those are your bag, that's absolutely fine. The takeaway from this, though, is that you have come a considerable distance. In fact, further than you think that you have. And you are making more of an impact than you could possibly be aware of at this point. You know, I've talked before many times over the last 3 years about the ripple effect. You know, one thing changes. It's like throwing a brick into a pond and those ripples come out. That, you know, every bit of the pond gets the ripple. It's a big pond, but I think that you're about to realise how big of a splash you've made here, Scorpio. That's very interesting. Okay, like I said, I'm going to leave it there. I hope that this was helpful. And absolute props to you for this open, flowing energy thing that you've got going on. It just feels fucking lush. Like, I really am enjoying it. Know that I love you all very, very much. And I'll see you soon.